Contractor game strategies. There is a depth of strategy in Contractor that many players will not at first realize. In the rules, under strategies, it says to earn immediate rental income, purchase equipment used at the beginning of the jobs. The low bed dozer, subcontractor, loader, excavator, trucks, rock drill, and scrapers are all good first choices to buy as they are used in the first two phases of the jobs. When buying equipment, keep back enough cash, about $45,000, for operating expenses to pay for bills and to work. More on that later. For bidding on the jobs, just as in real life contracting, the more one bids, the more shrewd and crafty they get. And just as in real life, knowing who you are bidding against is very vital information. I've had teenagers play Contractor 4 and 5 times in a day, and every time they purposed to be more clever on the bidding. It's basically all they did all day. And as you bid, consider the equipment you have been dealt. You may want to bid cheaper on the job that your equipment is used the most on, especially at the beginning and the ending of the job. An important strategy is to buy all the equipment that you can afford to buy. But if you spend all your money on equipment, you won't be able to afford to work on your job. And just as in real life, if you don't work in Contractor, you won't get ahead. So if you bid lower to get the jobs that use your equipment at the start, you'll be able to work with less money. And if your equipment is used a lot towards the end of the job, and the game ends before you complete your job, you'll pay less for the uncompleted phases. So in the rules, under selling equipment, it says at any time, equipment may be sold back to the bank for half price or sold or traded with other players for a negotiated price. Money may be included in a trade. So if you don't have enough money to work with when you land on a work day, you may want to sell a piece of equipment to get enough money to work. You may choose to sell an inexpensive piece of equipment back to the bank for half price, then work, and then buy that same piece of equipment back or another piece. Or you may sell equipment and or trade with cash to any other player at any time, keeping in mind the value of the equipment's potential earnings, which are all on the work schedule earnings chart, which shows the added up total earnings for each piece of equipment. Consider, however, how many phases have been completed before you pay top dollar for that equipment. And if any player has completed the 9th phase and you are stuck on the 5th phase, let's say of the power line, and you know the game may end at any moment, you may want to purchase the crane or the electrical or the steel. Likewise, if the high rise is your job, you may want to try to purchase the subcontractor, as the player who owns it isn't going to earn too much with it if you are stuck on the 5th phase. And the aspect of selling and or trading equipment at any time to any player can make for a very boisterous atmosphere as the game proceeds along. And then there's a risky strategy to do with loans. And loans are not optional. You can only have a loan when you incur an expense. It has to be paid immediately and you don't have enough cash. So the one devious strategy that sometimes works is to spend all of your money on equipment and then hope to incur a small expense, and then you have to get a loan, which may result in you having enough money to work. So just as in real life, your beginning and middle moves and choices in Contractor are very vital, but it's the last few moves that will determine the winner. Enjoy.